We're going to talk about what ISSB stands for, and please always have in mind, 90% of you guys have in mind, ESG makes work, ESG costs bunch of money. ESG may get you gray hair because it's tough to challenge and internalize. What would be your answer on all those things in a nutshell?
It's probably true, everything that you've said, but I do believe that ESG is a strategic issue, and so as with any other topic and trend and change, you want to understand as a company, as an investor, as a consumer, whatever stakeholder you are in this chain, you do want to understand what does that actually mean? What is happening? What does it mean? Do I really understand it? So as a company, do I really understand my sustainability-related risks and opportunities, by the way? Yeah. You were very focused on risks. I do see it also as a big opportunity. There's change, so let's be ready for that change.
Yeah. You've joined ISSB in the very beginning in 2022. What does ISSB stand for?
So we are the International Sustainability Standards Board, for those of you who have not heard of us before. Here at this special event, I think you should also know that we are located in Frankfurt, and it's a perfect place for us to be because, as you all know, this is a very important financial market, and so it's very cool that the ISSB is also located here in Frankfurt. I guess for those of you who do not know the ISSB, probably most of you know the IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards Foundation, and we belong to the IFRS. So basically, our task is, as you know it from the financial side, where you can, for example, I try to be simple here today, but I think on the financial side, there are established international rules so that you can compare the data that you see from companies. You can compare the profit numbers, 5 versus 7. The IFRS wouldn't judge on whether 5 and 7 is good or bad, high or low, meeting your expectations. But the IFRS rules make sure that the financial data that the company is disclosing is correct, that it's comparable, and that this is information that capital markets can use for their decision making. And we now, as ISSB, we pretty much do the same on the sustainability side, so that the disclosure that a company is doing on its sustainability-related risk and opportunities is globally the same. It's comparable, and that you can use it for better decision-making. That's pretty much what we are doing as ISSB.
Interesting. It is. And it's, you just said that in 2 sentences, but again, we can be so proud that ISSB is placed in Frankfurt in Germany. It could be done anywhere in the world. The politicians in Europe, in Germany, the financial industry, you all fought for having that situated in Frankfurt. So it's the main driver for us again. Yeah. I was saying sustainability is complex. Sustainability needs all stakeholders that are in that audience and even more. So if things are complex, and if you need plenty of stakeholders, you need, and this is what we heard before, a level playing field. And this is what, again, ISSB stands for. And we've added a very complex sentence in the background, and we're going to work through all those lines to make sure that at the end of that session, all of you know why ISSB is so important for the next quartiles and years for all, no matter which sector, no matter which situation. The ISSB aims to harmonize sustainability reporting. Again, 1 sentence to that because it just looks so positive.
I think it is positive.
Good.
That it should be positive. It should add value what we are doing. And maybe let me explain to you a little bit why I joined the ISSB, because I actually come from the company side. So you mentioned all the different jobs that people can have when they end up in sustainability, and I'm actually a strategy consultant, or I was a strategy consultant for most of my career. And then I was an internal consultant also at Siemens in all their businesses, all the countries, all topics. And then some 7, 8 years ago, they offered me to be the head of sustainability for Siemens. And I did that because it's such a huge strategic challenge. And by the way, in this case, again, risks and opportunities. How are the markets changing? So that's kind of where I come from. And if you are responsible now for sustainability for a company, reporting and disclosure is one key task of such a role. And today, it's hard to do this job on reporting in the right way, because there are different standards out there are different expectations. There is not this one global baseline that is mandatory in many different countries. So it's hard to do that, because you would then take one framework or standard for good reasons, and you have good reasons why you choose that one, but then there will be someone asking you, why are you actually now using this standard or not the other one? So that leads to frustration. And it also leads to frustration because if you are a good citizen and if you do your job in the right way and if you want to have high quality disclosure and if you want to share the right information, it's very hard and it sometimes feels a bit unfair if another company is doing it differently. And basically these numbers are then being compared, for example, by investors, but also by other stakeholders. And those are actually not comparable numbers. You're not comparing the same. And so this is why it's so important to harmonize now these existing different standards and frameworks and have it in one global baseline that can be then applied all around the world.
Super. Give us a sentence on TCFD and give us a sentence on SASB.
One sentence on TCFD. If I had to give, I know you don't mean it like this, but if I had to give one sentence on TCFD, TCFD is a very established framework that we also, by the way, used and applied with a very strategic exercise on what does climate change mean to your business. What are the risks, the opportunities that are resulting from climate change? How do you measure this? Do you have any targets set within your company? How do you have this risk management process set up? Which governance structures do you have? Who is responsible for it?
Super. And
how
SASB?
are you controlling that? And so TCFD, you need two sentences, is really a beautiful framework, also even in some countries mandatory and very well established. And why is TCFD so important and why do I need two sentences on this? Because we have incorporated TCFD into our standards. That's what we mean with harmonizing. We're not, the idea is not to have something in addition, but also obviously using what has been very helpful in the past. And TCFD is one, and this is now fully within our standards.
So we're talking about a comprehensive global baseline.
Correct.
And this is needed to compare and to increase the transparency and the internalization. The next panel will be with CSOs of DAX companies.
Yes.
What do you recommend CSOs to be aware of?
I mean, first of all, I really believe that a CSO is a pretty challenging, but also a pretty exciting role. Because if you do your job right, at least that's what I believe, then you really have to integrate ESG throughout the company. Sort of in my case, we had 300,000 people. And I always said, I do my job best if I'm not needed anymore. So it's really living this change, taking these people with you. And if you do that and if you are successful in this, then there are super great dynamics all of a sudden existing. So, I don't know, your procurement department all of a sudden will say, we thought about it and we have something super cool. A country will say they do something special. Your development teams, R&D teams all of a sudden realize, hey, hold on, if we want to have a more sustainable product, we really have to have this in our R&D process at the very beginning when we start to develop our product. So I do believe the key point is really understanding how to best integrate ESG in the important decisions, where are the key decisions of a company, and then integrate it there. And of course also have high quality disclosure, ideally with our standards.
Super. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to spur greater uptake, then keep in mind Jenny Bofinger-Schuster as the contact person for ISSB, and please open up for questions later on for Jenny. Thanks for
Thank you, Wiebke.
all those insights, and see you later. Bye, Jenny.
Thank you.